Welcome back, everyone, and we're live again with the Women of Overwatch tournament here on this lovely Death Blossoms channel. We have the semi-finals overall. This is the winners bracket finals, semi-finals between AMD Void and let me quickly check my bracket because I forgot. It's the Spider Lilies. So in the blue, we'll have the wonderful AMD Void or ADM Void. The Spider Lilies are going to be attacking in the red, and I'm here, of course, with the lovely Katrina.
Hi, man of class. How are you today?
I'm doing well. I hope you're doing fine as well. It's a lovely evening for Overwatch. You know, you see Overwatch League play, and now we get to watch actual people play. We can actually touch physically.
Yes, it's going to be a great
closer to us.
Yes, it's going to be a great matchup, and we are headed over first to Route 66. So there's a lot of opportunities for us to see some crazy compositions. Let's just say a lot more DPS. However, as we do look at the defense right now, we do see Glue and Deadstar. Both of them will be playing more heavy tank composition. We have a brief pause coming in as Spider Lilies will need to bring another player back into the game. But right now, we do see the sniper, Baby Blue, and Sandwich Maker in case he's having a pharmacy. Are you excited to see these compositions?
I'm especially excited to see Baby Blue. I casted the AMD Void previous match, and Baby Blue was honestly just popping off on that Widowmaker. There's no other way to say it. Baby Blue is a very good Widowmaker. That was at some point there was a tournament, I believe. That Bemi told me about that, where Baby Blue just won the entire Widowmaker 1v1 matchups. There was a Widowmaker tournament, so that's why Baby Blue won. But yeah, that's something I'm going to be very excited for to see. Sandwich Maker is popping up from the far as well. They really combined well around that combo. And then Glue and Deadstar are pretty good at holding that front line up. The only thing they have to obviously worry about is getting run over. So if it's going to be up to Spider Lilies to deal with that Widowmaker pressure, in my opinion.
Yes, there's so many long sight lines on Route 66, which makes it a really fun map. And with Sandwich Maker keeping up so much pressure on the Pharah, there's also a great amount of shield breaking potential. So I'm kind of curious to see how DeBrod is going to be able to handle with all of that damage coming in with a short bubble time period. Cola de Tigre is going to have to be using that defense matrix quite liberally.
Yeah, it has been a bit of a trouble for Divas doing the defense matrix of late, hasn't it?
Yes, with the cooldown being added, it definitely has been something to get used to in our ranked games, but right now we are seeing the Genji come out for self-force, and Cola de Tigre is the first one to be getting some damage done as the dive comes in.
Yeah, they dove in very aggressively, but Glue immediately takes down the Rod. And the other tank soon to follow. Cola de Tigre also losing mech, losing life, and Persika. Yeah, not long for this world. Luckily, the pharmacy gets out, so not all the old charges fed over, but Sinbi, giving another 200 hit points. So that's something that is gonna charge up that old bank a little bit there for the defense.
Definitely, Sandwich Maker is already very close to that self-destruct, and we do see Spider Lilies adapting. Excel Force will be switching over to a Hanzo to be able to counter that aerial threat from above. Now we do also see Cola de Tigre switching over to that Reinhardt, so that Diva is not available anymore to counter that Pharah.
It's also interesting to see is that Cola de Tigre was on the off tank role now on the main tank role. Sandwich Maker, though, really doesn't care about the Hanzo. No aerial denial this time. It's actually going to be the aerial threat that's reigns supreme. Simbi does get the hack on Sandwich Maker, but it doesn't matter if she's on the ground when you can still shoot those rockets in people's faces, and takes out Axel Force again after being rezzed. This is looking to be a very aggressive defense so far.
Yes, very dominant, and yes, as you were saying, the rockets to the face are a bit brutal. The Valkyrie is popped by Sublane right now and trying to keep up to Broad, but right now, the anti-nade is just taking too much damage away.
And the Spider Lilies are trying very hard, keeping the reses. The reses actually come up every single time, which is very impressive, but it doesn't really matter if you res someone, they're going to die straight away. This time the Zarya gets away, but Persika is unfortunately not so lucky. So they're going to have to try again here with one person down. They're still going to go for this poke, but there's so many ultimates on the defense. Does it matter though? There's the EMP. The EMP actually gets some value here. Deathstar getting the kill on Axel Force here. And that might mean that the defense still has some sort of foothold, but Deathstar really has to run away now, getting pressured very hard by Cola de Tigre. But Sandwich Maker, the savior, the saving grace from the sky, actually takes out the main tank here, and Casey's is there to heal, to res him back up when the fire goes down. The attackers are still brawling it out though. It's being a very even trade so far, but it does seem the defenders are getting the edge here, and Sandwich Maker just finishing rocket after rocket, and they just don't stop. They don't stop falling.
However, when we look at overall ultimate economy, the attackers for Spider Lilies will have the edge as we do go into this next fight. Baby Blue does pop that infrared sight, so she will know wherever her enemies are, and that does pay off as Excel Force is taken down.
And that's what I was talking about. Baby Blue and the Widow duels, you don't want to go up against Baby Blue there. And she was hitting the shots there. You know, the French sniper, always good, even in the matchup. And with this Graviton Barrage combo, that should spell you in there for another attack. And there's really only gonna be only one more opportunity. And I don't know if you want to invest the Graviton in this fight.
No, for that fight right there, there wasn't enough follow-up for Spider Lilies to be able to capitalize on the use of that major ultimate. So right now, Cindy on that Sombra is going to have an incredible EMP for Spider Lilies to be able to take this first point, especially when there are 2 support ultimates online.
Both DPS and the Spider Lilies putting so much pressure on Baby Blue. Baby Blue had to drop off the high ground and therefore lost all the positioning. The EMP came in afterwards, and now they're getting the kills. Now they're getting the pressure up, but they really, really need to win this fight. Otherwise, they're not going to get that payload to the first point, and that would be a detrimental start to the semifinals for them.
Completely agree, and right now it does look like the Spider Lilies will be able to clean up with Casey's the Mercy finally falling. Excel Force is taking out all approaching threats coming in from ADM Void, so although we did have this being taken to overtime for Spider Lilies, they will be able to take point A, but Sandwich Maker has something to say.
And Baby Blue also just taking the Widow duel on the side. But when she wins it the first time, doesn't win the second time, unfortunately, with that res coming in from Sublin. But yeah, that's them getting the first point here. But that was a lot of a struggle. What do you think led to them having so much trouble breaking to that defense?
It was a bit they had a lot of trouble breaking ADM Void's high ultimate economy. Overall, ADM was able to really be patient with their ultimate use, especially with Sandwich Maker on that fire doing so much damage so quickly. All it took was a single ult, but also 1 shot, 1 kill coming in there from Baby Blue. Sometimes a single bullet is all you need.
It's very, very fortunate that they do in fact have that Mercy, but it doesn't matter because you don't have 3 lives here, of course. Unfortunately not, and it's going to be the front line now. Front line's batching it out, and still, you know, Baby Blue in the back there, taking out Brasika. Why not? The only thing Baby Blue really needs is just to keep the front line busy, and then the shots will come in. That's not the issue there. This Graviton gets a little bit of value, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Does seem like they want to back up a little bit, but they're keeping the pressure up, and I think that's good for them.
Yes, we did see Cindy using that EMP, and it was directly combined with Broad using that Graviton Surge, but when you already have lost so many players in the previous fight, it's quite difficult to be able to come back, even if you do have those ultimates, just because the follow-up will not be there. And as we do look at ultimates, oh, I have to point this out right now, we might get a Bob on the field. Cindy has swapped over to that Ashe. But as I was saying, there are so many high-stakes ultimates on the side of ADM Void, specifically that Earthshatter and Graviton Surge, which can be combined with such lethality.
Yeah, and we always say that, you know, the Spider Lilies, they kind of need to do something, and that's what Bob is for. He does something, at least that's the point. And then Axel Force actually takes down Baby Blue this time, winning the Widow 1v1. Wow. That shatter from Blue, though, you finally think, oh yes, we got the Widow, and then that happens. But the rest comes in. There's other stuff happening now. Axel Force actually getting taken out by Sandwich Maker, but is that enough? Is Baby Blue's death actually going to be detrimental here to the defense? It looks like it is going to be, and we might actually get more and more chance to see a Bob here when this match gets extended.
Yes, for sure. ADM Void needs to regroup right now. They still have ultimates ready to push at the last moment, try to prevent a second take, but it is going to be difficult to deal with a Graviton Surge of DeBrod coming up momentarily too, but Baby Blue's taken out.
Cindy winning that matchup. Good swap over to the Ashe for that reason, but that anti-nade, that decides it. That's going to be everything. Just 3 people with a fat purple bar above their heads, and yeah, you can just switch through it when you're the defensive blue. And yeah, I mean, I would not say that Glue is the one holding it all together, but in that case, when they were all held together, Glue definitely knew what to do with that one. This was a good defense.
Absolutely brilliant defense throughout both points. They do end up stopping Spider Lilies before they reach the second point, so the win condition is very clear for ADM Void. And I do like that you mentioned Glue. He did hold it quite together during that last part. Some very classic non-toxic Glue that I see often.
Start calling Sam Michelle and pretending NYX
in kindergarten classrooms, but right now that play is anything but elementary. Glue has been doing outstanding, being able to block the opposing Reinhardt shatter at that last moment. Key play for victory. Well done to the defense of ADM Void.
Yeah, and now when you go to the attack here, on ADM Void, you feel you've done your job on defense. You didn't quite hold them on first, but you did manage to stop them well before they reached second in a I wouldn't say necessarily dominant fashion, but a very convincing fashion. So if you're Spider Lilies now, you've seen what they can do in the defense. What are you afraid of, or what are you looking forward to on the defense that you now have to play against? Like what do you want to do?
So right now it looks like Spider Lilies is taking a page out of ADM Void's book and is going to be running a Pharmercy of their own. That Pharah Mercy combo can be so deadly, especially if Glue decides to stick on that Winston, just because of the lack of ever-present shielding, and also he has less armor overall, Winston as a hero. Also, we do see Sinbi sticking on that Ashe. I do love that opportunity to use Dynamite, especially as effect over time damage has been buffed in our recent patch. So right now, Spider Lilies do have a fair chance for success on this defense, purely based on composition.
Attackers incoming.
Now we're gonna see the ADM Void going out. We've seen a lot of aggressive holds on Route 66. Not today though, but Baby Blue immediately goes on the flank on the Tracer this time. I like to see that. I'd like to see Baby Blue not going for the Widow 1v1. Goes up the stairs behind them. Probably gonna try and get someone out there, but immediately got taken out by Dynamite, I think. So yeah, has to go again. And Simpy is backing off very far. Out of the fight, and Axel Force, like you said, is raining down from above. No pressure from the defense, or no shielding from the defense rather. And Blue is getting peppered right now.
Yes, right now though, the payload is still moving. ADM Void will have a moment to step back, reconvene as a team, but ultimately great defense coming in from Spider Lilies due to Excel Force being pocketed by Sublane on that Mercy. Now, I am also going to point out Sandwich Maker had an excellent boop on the more, well, let's just say less mobile members of Spider Lilies. If they continue to separate these heavy tanks from the back line, that is their key to victory.
And I see Baby Blue being on the Widow again. This is gonna probably lead to a lot of headshots. But that remains to be seen as of yet. Glue does take out Sinbi though, and that's a big pick because that's a lot of pressure gone. And with Sublime going down as well, no res coming in. Baby Blue does fall, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to stop the reign of the attackers, because they have heals, and the defense really doesn't that much anymore when Persika will go down now.
Yes, we did see Glue being able to take advantage of the mobility of her Winston, being able to get onto the top of bigger arrows, take out the Ashe immediately, and then soon after the Zenyatta, eliminating so much of that quick damage for Spider Lilies is giving ADM Void so much space. However, Spider Lily still has the chance to touch point once more.
But with Sydney going down straight away to Baby Blue, that's going to be a rough defense. And Sublime also falling again. The first two deaths in the fight for those two. Colette Tigre also falls, having switched over to the Winston. But Baby Blue, even though she falls, is probably not going to be the biggest casualty and denying them the point cap. So this is going to be a very convincing fight here for the now attackers of ADM Void. And yeah, the defenders really have to change something up here, I feel. And Cindy agrees and goes over straight away to the Reaper. And that's not something we see often.
No, that is an interesting choice. Definitely going to be trying to counter Glue on that dominant Winston right now. Going to break down those heavy tanks as much as possible using that Reaper. Now, it's also interesting to see that Persika is swapping over to the Moira. That Coalescence can be a great counter to a Pharmercy, not only because it's able to aim at them more accurately, but first, Baby Blue, it's doing such damage!
Get the double. That's actually, it just doesn't stop. Every single time Baby Blue gets the slightest space, the slightest angle, a headshot falls. And I mean, I would say you have to just pressure the Widowmaker more, but it's so hard to do in the situation. You see Baby Blue just running around, and still, while being chased, actually shooting at Persika there. It's just not doable. I don't know how you stop this, really.
So I do think Spider Lilies did hear you, Man of Class, because they are going to be swapping over to that dive tank, that Winston, to hopefully for them be dealing more with Baby Blue on that Widow, but with 5 ultimates online for ADM Void and only 2 for Spider Lilies, things are looking a bit grim for those spiders.
And then again, you have to come up with this little choke here, and you see exactly what happens when you try to do that. Sandwich Maker just presses Q, and sure, Simbi is on the point with Persika, but it's not going to be a lot of things they can do there. Axel Force tries though, also presses Q there, gets the barrage out, but meanwhile, there's just Reses coming out, Self-Destruct's coming out, and well, Blue just corralling them away, just making sure they don't stick to that payload, like Blue wants to do themselves.
It does look like Spider Lilies has stabilized momentarily. However, it is still a very even team fight. But Baby Blue, as you said, takes out the support.
Yeah, Persika is now out of it, but with that Valkyrie, there's still plenty of healing going around. And Sandwich Maker actually throws out, well, not a very good position against the Reaper, because if you get close to a Reaper, the Reaper will kill you. And that's exactly what happened there. Simbi on the payload, actually a very good area denial threat, because you don't want to get close to that. And if you want to push a payload, you have to get to the payload. So this is going to be an interesting stuff. I think the defense, the attack is now actually resetting a little bit. So we will see another try for ADM Void here, but they do still have 2 minutes. So nothing much to worry about just yet, even though the music is getting slightly exciting. That's merely because the payload is so close, not because the time's running out.
And it is great Overwatch we are seeing right now. I always love to see that Hammond coming in, but Excel Force has to retreat, receiving a bubble early from DeBrod, so there is not as much bubble resources for Spider Lilies, but they do get that first pick onto Sandwich Maker.
And there's so much fewer heroes now on the side of the defense that can actually get picked up by a Widowmaker easily. So Baby Blue's gonna have a harder time picking people up, and Cindy just zoning out the card a little bit. And then there's another dive tank that goes on to Baby Blue. So now they have 2, not just the Winston, but also the Hammond. And just puts down the mines on the card, and Death Star also has to run for the hills. Just flies away and still gets demexed by Axel Force. This Hammond pick is really paying off well.
And you do see that Baby Blue is going to be reacting to that Hammond pick, choosing to play McCree now to be able to stun that hamster out of his ball and destroy him as quickly as possible. There is still so many ultimates online for Spider Lilies if you do anticipate that DeBrod will be able to build up that Graviton in time for the next team fight. So it is going to be difficult for ADM Void, who has 40 seconds only remaining on this clock.
It was looking so good for them. They've really have been halted. Blue now going off to the Reinhardt, so they want to put more presence on the point there and actually manage to stay there. They don't need the mobility, they just need the raw damage apparently. And there is the damage from the barrage, really taking out Simbi. They're being trapped in the Graviton though, so this could very well turn around. But the follow-up isn't quite there, so now there is the Brawl just coming out on the point. Not a lot of ultimates online anymore, and this is where it's really going to come down to who gets to use it better. Was that a good value? It will, of course. Baby Blue once again is the savior of the fight, gets the payload clear enough for them to actually start pushing it into that last point. With the Broad also going down, this is likely going to be spelling the end here for the full team hold, and now their only hope is to really come in with stalls. That's what Axel Force is going to try to do together with Cindy, but it's looking like it's not going to be enough.
Yes, right now the Death Blossom does come in, but it does not get any kills except for Cindy herself is almost at the payload. And yes, ADM Void will be able to take Route 66. Excellent defense coming in from both sides. It did look like Spider Lilies was going to be able to hold that. However, the ultimates were eventually in favor for ADM Void.
There we go. We see this lovely last Deadeye from Baby Blue. I'm actually almost disappointed that this is the one we're getting, because there's just so many nice skill shots from Baby Blue, and then you get something where it just the game aims for you. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from the play. It's a beautiful play, but